Hi. Today what I want to do is show you how to paint a Milky Way using the Alla Prima or the wet on wet technique, otherwise known as a Bob Ross technique. What I have here is a standard 18 by 24 canvas. It was white. I went over and I put a black gesso all over it, allowed that to dry, and then I followed up with a clear coat of liquid clear. Okay. For the wet on wet technique to really work well, you have to have the canvas wet. And since we're going to have mostly a night sky, we can't have a white liquid white on there, so we're using the liquid clear in place of it. Okay, so a very thin coat of liquid clear. I took a paper towel, wiped it all down, so it's just a very, very thin coat of the liquid clear. Okay, so now that we have that, we've got to think about the Milky Way. So I think all I want to do is have some mountain scenes with the Milky Way right in the middle. Okay, so we're going to apply some transparent paint to it. Phthalo blue, phthalo green, alizarin crimson. Those will be my transparent colors that I apply to it. So let me show you how to do that. Just take the phthalo blue, and I want to just tap a little bit in the paintbrush. And my Milky Way is going to be right here. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this blue. Kind of like how I think the Milky Way is going to look. So you probably won't be able to see that on the canvas, but I have now a very thin coat of phthalo blue right in the center here. Okay, I'm going to take a clean brush and I'm going to go ahead and start blending this out. I'm going to just make little X's because I don't want really bright colors in here. I'm going to have it kind of like, you know, faded away the further away you go from the actual Milky Way itself. Okay. So next I'm going to have a little bit green in here to kind of break up the color a little bit. So this is my 1-inch brush. Again, just tapping it in. I'm not going to have a lot of the green, but I'm going to have a kind of little patches here and there, kind of, since it won't be all one uniform color. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of green here and there. And I also want to have some red. So as I'm going to have the mountains come down, I'm going to have a little bit of red too to kind of show like a backlight of almost like the sun coming up. So I'm going to have a little tiny bit of red, the alizarin crimson. I'm going to go ahead and put off to the sides here and off to the sides here. Okay. As you're doing this, you should kind of think about where you want things to be. And I know I'm going to have maybe like mountains further off in the distance here, maybe closer up here, Milky Way in the center. I'm going to have maybe a snow scene down below. Okay. So let me go back to my other brush to blend this all together. I'm going to wash my brush out first to get some of that paint off of there before I start blending. Because we do want the colors to be somewhat different. We do not want them to all be like kind of mud. We want them all to be individual colors where we can see them. So I do have a screen over here, which I'm cleaning it off, and everything else is kind of loud, so that's why I have it kind of further away. So I do have to walk a little ways. So now with this this dry brush, I'm going to go back through and once again kind of blend the colors. I don't want to blend the green and the red too much because you might get like a brown color. So I'm going to start out here, kind of blend this red off. Okay. And then now if I start in the middle, it's going to be more like a purple color coming out to the green. So then I can go ahead and blend the blue and the green together. And then I'm going to make long horizontal strokes to kind of blend everything together. Okay. While I have my paintbrush with the blue, I'm going to go ahead and do the whole bottom of this with the phthalo blue also, because I am going to put snow in the bottom of there. And if you go ahead and have blue in the bottom, it would help give the look of snow. So again, go back into the blue, and I want to just have blue down through here. Okay, I don't care how good this is, how well covered it is, but I do want to have a little bit of blue at the bottom. And of course, the more white I add, the lighter blue that's going to be. Okay. So now we're going to start doing the actual Milky Way themselves. Do all the stars, the colors, the actual Milky Way. So to do that, again, I need a good dry brush. For this, we need a little bit of white. Okay, so when I do the white, I don't want to load the brush up. I just want to tap the white. Okay, so if I just go ahead and tap this white, you'll see how the paintbrush itself kind of keeps the bristles spread out, so it's not all together. And then what I'm just do is go up here and just touch where I think the Milky Way is going to be. Okay, I know that doesn't look like much right now, but I'm going to go ahead and knock off that white paint. Now the one thing, you don't have to go through and do a lot of, well, let me back up. You will have to do a lot of cleaning on your brushes and everything else because you do want this to be in layers. So if you have a soft brush, soft bristle brush, you go back through and kind of like make little swirls. And you can kind of start blending this out. Okay? So this is going to be like the background to our shadows and everything. Okay? We're going to come back to that. Again, with our brush we just have just white on it. You might have to do several layers of this so you can kind of get a good look to see how this is going to play out for you. Again, just a little bit of white here and there, and that's going to go ahead and help blend everything together. So I used to be a big fan of Bob Ross. I used to watch his PBS specials all the time and everything, and I've never seen him really do a Milky Way like this. So I was just kind of playing around and I kind of came up with this little method here, and it's still based off of what he used to do, but it's kind of like, I'm more of like a science geek, so I kind of like more of the science, the outer space and everything. So I tried this a little while ago, and it seemed to work pretty well for me. And I had people ask me how I was doing it, so that's why I figured I'll go ahead and do a video on it. Again, come back through here. Just want to lighten this up. I'm just doing little swirls right here. We'll come back through and we'll blend it. And maybe one more time. I want this a little bit lighter in the middle. One more time, blend it. So now what I want to do is I want to get a little bit of like lavender or purple color in there. So I'm going to take some of my blue, some of my red, and just kind of blend these two colors together. Okay. So I'm looking for like a purple color to make like the dark shadows inside the Milky Way. So what you can do is take a little tiny bit of white and kind of see what color that is, And that's the color I'm looking for. Okay. Next what I do is I take a fan brush and I put some of that lavender color on here, that purple color. And then I just go through, kind of like you're making clouds, I just kind of like plop this in. Okay. And then with that soft blender brush again, make sure it's clean. Then we'll come back through, I'm going to blend this all out. Very lightly you do this. Okay. Again, you need to do lots of layers like this, so we're going to go back through and do it again. And again, with a blender brush, blend these colors out. Okay. Now that you have the dark spot in the middle, now you just need to go back through and do white again. Okay, so put white on your brush. It's going to be the same thing we just did with the purple, but this time we're going to do it with the white. Okay, so you want to have that area lighter again. You want to have different shades, different values of light and dark. So this is why we're doing it this way. Okay. And then let me get my blender brush cleaned off this time before I was actually just knocking the paint off. This time I'm going to go ahead and actually wash it. So I'm using odorless paint thinner, and I have some paper towels here to help dry it off on. Okay. Go back through and blend it very gently, because you don't want to have this just a light purple. We want to have some of this white show through. And then very gently, blend the whole thing together. Okay. I want this to soften a little bit more, so I'm going to just kind of keep blending these sides in. So I really don't want a lot of that color, like a lot of that green color shining through. So I'm just kind of blend that out. Now see, it's okay here how it has this pink with a light with a darker red on it. I kind of like that look, so we'll just go ahead and keep that. But I do want to go ahead and blend this color more, and then we'll come back through and do more maybe of the white. Okay. Maybe this time we'll just take a clean 1-inch brush. Kind of put some highlights where I want them. Okay. I'm going to blend that too, but I'm not going to blend it quite as much. Okay. Let me get some of these brushes cleaned up, and then we can go ahead and add some stars to it. I really need to buy myself some more brushes. I don't have to do this all the time, but it's not that hard to clean them. Just takes a few seconds. But you got to make sure they are clean and dry though, because you don't want to start doing you don't want to start putting paint thinner on top of the paint that you already have, or else you're going to just kind of mix all the colors together. So when you do this, make sure their brushes are good and dry, as well as clean. So whenever we do the stars, I got a fan brush too real quick, I'm sorry guys. What I like to do for my stars is to take some liquid white, which I'm going to go ahead and put some liquid white on my palette right now. Okay, so right now I just put some liquid white on here. Liquid white is just a very thin down titanium white. So now what I'm just doing is adding a little bit of paint thinner to it, because I want this super wet. Okay, I want this really thin on here. If you look, it's kind of like running on the actual palette. Okay, so I want it really thin. Okay, now let me show you this. So now I take the white, take a knife, and I just kind of like flick the stars up there. Okay, right here's where I have to be the majority of the stars, but right here in the middle. So if you just go ahead and flick some of these stars. It needs to be thinner still. Because you want it to kind of come off the paintbrush. I'm sorry, the knife easy. You can put more or less in there if you want. Down here we're not going to be worried about because we're going to just heat up the snow anyway. Okay. Just going to do a couple more. And what you can do, some of these you can see were kind of like hit and ran. So if you were to put your knife right inside there, you can kind of make it look like it's a shooting star. this one same way. So it kind of looks like the actual, there you go. Okay. Now we need to do mountains. Okay, for mountains we just need a dark color on there. So we're gonna go ahead and use this lavender color we made. We're gonna use that color, we'll use some black, maybe some brown. Okay, we just want a dark color on this. You want to avoid the green at this time, just because you don't want to, when you start getting into snow, have green colored snow. It's not going to look right. So I made this dark color here. You're going to pull it out really thin like that. Cut a little roll of paint off. Now you got to start thinking about your mountains. Okay, so for this one here, it's going to be back further. So I think we'll just have it kind of come like this. And we're just kind of pushing this paint into the canvas. Okay. We're just pushing it in. You're not going to really, you're not going to do any damage to the canvas. Okay. So we just want to go ahead and push this paint into it. And then we're going to just go ahead and scrape off everything else. Okay, because basically all we're concerned about is this leading edge right here. Down here, we really don't care. We just want this nice edge right here. Then I have a point right there. Maybe one right there, one right there, one right there. Okay. So, since this was going to be back further, we need like less detail with it. We're going to have a bigger one right here coming kind of in front of it. Okay. So, let's go ahead and take our clean 2-inch brush, and we can kind of grab this paint and pull it now, pull in different directions, and kind of start making the form of the mountain. So now we're going to need some highlights on there. So for that, we're going to just use a little bit of white. We're going to pull this out really flat. Okay. Have it really flat like that. Cut off a little roll of paint. You're going to come back and you're going to very gently touch the knife on it and let it kind of like bounce down. So I'm going to start like right here, and I'm going to just kind of like let this paint bounce off. Okay. There's another one right there. Get some more paint. Okay. Maybe there's one right here too. You have to just very gently. You don't want too much detail back here, but you still want enough that you know they're mountains. Okay. Now, for the other side of that, we need to have shadows. So I'm going to take a little bit of this white, and I need to darken it up. Okay, the shadow sides aren't going to have that much detail to it either, but We have a darker color here. Now we're gonna come on this side and we're gonna kind of put in our shadows. Okay, wherever you have a light side, you need to have a shadow side. And you should start being able to see the mountain taking shape here. Again, that's a little tiny roll of paint that allows you to have it break like this. You want this paint to break on here so it looks like you have different rocks and different types of shadows and lights. Okay. If you need to go back over and put more highlights on it, you can go back again with your white, cut that little roll of paint, and maybe come over here and, you know, make some of these other peaks stand out more. But again, remember, this is back in the distance, so you don't need a lot, okay? And again, if you use light, you gotta do a shadow too. So we'll just do a shadow right here. And we'll put some shadows right there. Okay. Now, with your with a clean 2-inch brush, you want to go through it and kind of make this look like it's mist. Okay, so like the shadows are coming, or the form of the mountain's coming this way. So on this, we want to just kind of tap down here. We want to kind of make the illusion of mist. And on this side, we want it to go this direction. Okay. So once you do that, you can knock off the excess paint, and then you want to go ahead and just blend it very lightly. Kind of go with the flow of the mountain again. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and do other mountains on the other side. They're going to be closer to us this time. Okay. So again, we'll take our dark color. This is that lavender color we made, and we're going to go ahead and say maybe this mountain's bigger. Maybe it goes right here. It's going to come down like this. It's going to come right in front of this one. Actually, it's going to put another peak right there. Again, go back over, scrape off all this excess paint. Okay. With your brush, you go back through and form the mountain now. Don't touch the top of the mountain. You just want to come in here and start shaping it. So we're pulling this paint down. We're doing two things. We're removing a lot of this excess paint, but we're also giving the mountain some definition to it. Okay. I noticed that right here the mountain doesn't look right, so I want to go back through and just touch up a little bit. So I'm going to do this just to make it. That looks better. So again, we're going to go ahead and pull that paint down. Okay. So now for this one, we got to do shadows and highlights again. So for our highlights, we're gonna go ahead and just do our white. Pull it out really thin. Cut off a little roll of paint on it. And just lightly touch. Okay. We got this peak here, do the same thing. And maybe this peak here is actually behind the front mountain. So we're gonna go ahead and put some snow just up here on the top. Just like that. Okay. Now for the shadow part, go ahead and leave a marble. We're gonna have more detail with this. Go ahead and mix these colors together. This is just that lavender color I used for the mountain. I put a little tiny bit of white in there. We don't want it too bright because again, this is gonna be the shadow side. So cut off a little roll of paint and go back over here and do the shadow side. Let's see. Okay, we said we wanted this side, this mountain to go in front of this one, so we'll just kind of push it back. Okay. And maybe we'll go ahead and maybe we'll put another peak like right here. We have this snow kind of come down here, and maybe as it comes down, it kind of works its way around this way, and then maybe back down. Okay, so maybe there's like another little peak right there. And again, wherever you have light, you have to have the shadow too. So for the shadow, we'll go ahead and bring this down like this, maybe around. Now you gotta make sure you have a clean, dry brush for this. So someone just step over here and wash my brush again. Make sure it's good and clean. Shake off the excess. Now again, we need to blend this bottom. So those mountains are going this direction. And then over here they go in this direction. But again, we just want to go ahead and blend this out. Okay. Shake off the extra paint again. And again, lift up nice and easy. This helps blend this bottom. Okay. Now, I think I'll go ahead and put some trees in here, okay? Have to blur that a little. That looked not right. Okay. So to do the trees, we want a lavender color again, so I'm gonna go ahead and take some of this blue, take some of this alizarin crimson again, mix them together. We can even mix all this back together. Okay, again, avoid that green color because you do not want green for the snow. Okay. So what I'm going to just do is load my fan brush, and I'm going to start thinking about where I want this line of trees. I think it's going to start like right here. And I'm going to just go ahead and put these trees in like this. All I'll just do is bring my brush straight down. Load it up again. You kind of want to go back through. You want to make sure there's like really no holes in here. Okay, because you are making trees, you're not making like a picket fence or anything. From the other side. Same thing. Okay. Maybe kind of hard to see and everything else, but what you can do is if you want to go ahead and make it look like get some definition of trees back there, you can turn your brush sideways and kind of make it into like a pine tree here or there. You don't have to do every single one of them because it is back far. Okay. And if you have to, take a little tiny bit of paint thinner on your brush, because you need a thin paint to stick to a thick paint. And right here, there's a lot of paint on those mountains. So if I just put a little bit of paint thinner in there, I can come back through and have this paint stick to it. Okay. See if there might be like a pine tree right here. And what we'll just do is I'm going to go ahead and fill in this bottom. Okay. I know it's really hard to see, but we need to keep this dark. Okay. Now what we can do is we need to take a good clean brush. I'm going to use my... You know what? I'll just use a fan brush for this. Where's my fan brush? There it is. Okay, so now we need to put snow in here. Okay, so I think our snow is going to go maybe like right here. Load your brush up again. I'm going to have it come from this side this time. And since we put this blue color down here already, you can see how this white is picking up this blue. Okay. So we're going to just make a couple different planes in here. Okay, so you see how this here is pushed back further just from me doing this and coming over the top of it. Okay. Now, I mentioned about maybe having a cabin put in there. So let's go ahead and put a cabin. Cabins are pretty easy. You want to I found it easiest if you go ahead and scrape it out first. So let's see, we're gonna have maybe the cabin roof right there, and then it comes down this way maybe. By doing it this way, you kind of remove the excess paint, but you can also see how you want it to look too. Let's see, we want to go ahead and maybe have it come down there, back there. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. So, for the cabin, for the sides and for the front, we're going to use black, we're going to use brown, and let's use a little bit of the red too. Okay, a little more red. Okay, this will be the same thing we do when we were doing the mountains. So let's get a little bit of white too, because it is going to be snowy out there. See if we can kind of leave it marble like that, and we'll cut across. So you got to think about where this roof line's at, and we need to put our boards in there. Okay. Just trying to get these angles to look better. I'll worry about the shadows and everything later. Okay. This side. More dark, more dark, dark over here. Okay. What I'm going to do is add a little bit of the red and the brown. Kind of make it like there's little boards here. Again, we're just kind of barely touching this. Okay. Same thing for the other side. I'm going to have the other side a little bit lighter. Side needs to be darker. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and cut yourself a little door in there. Use a little bit of black, straight black. Put yourself into the door. And to make that door stand out more, you got to outline with a little bit of white. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and outline with a little bit of white. Okay. Now for the roof, we're going to take your white. It doesn't really matter if there's any blue in it or not because it's snow. Okay. So over on this side, you put the snow on it there, snow going back, snow coming down, and then just go ahead and fill in the roof. Okay. Then you take it, fill in the roof. Okay. There's a little building. Okay. And then you go ahead and cut off the excess. Try to keep the angles consistent. Okay. With your fan brush, you can go through and clean up the edges now. Okay. Let's see, maybe what we'll do, let's go ahead and add another layer of snow right here. Let's see, maybe we can have it come this direction. Round of white. I need to get more white on my palette here. Okay, by doing that, we went ahead and put another layer of snow in here. Okay. Then what you can do, let me clean the fan brush off. What you can do with this brown and black color and everything, just kind of put some color on your paintbrush. You can always come over here and over here, let's go ahead and put little weeds on there. Take your fan brush again, grab the bottom of that. You can kind of blend it right into it. Okay. How about let's see. I want to go ahead and let's do that. With this lavender color I made, the blue and the red, put a little bit of white in there. Let's go ahead and say there's going to be a pine tree right here. I actually want a little bit darker. So if I put a pine tree right there. I might put a little bit of liquid white in there too, just kind of thin it down a little bit. Let's make another one right beside him. Let's put him over here though. Yeah, right there. And we'll just kind of use the same color shuffle, make another layer there. Put a little bit of snow on this, little highlights. We're gonna go back to the white, the liquid white. And before I do that, let's go ahead and put a trunk on these trees. With that brown color, get a little roll of paint, or go ahead and give it some trunks. These trees are a lot closer to us now, so we're going to start seeing some definition, okay? So we don't need to get every branch, but you should go ahead and light's coming from this side. Okay. I dropped my brush. Let me clean it off. And again, you can take that fan brush and pull these colors. Okay. And I think what I'll just do is make that whole bottom water. Okay. Easy way to make water, take a clean brush. We're gonna go ahead and put this white on here. Just come up here and pull straight down. And that way there, it will look like these hills are being reflected into the water. You gotta make sure they're coming straight down though. Okay, once you do that, come back over and pull in from the sides. Okay. Now what I would do, I'll go ahead and use my 1-inch brush maybe. And I also need to get more of the liquid white. Whenever you do water lines, it's best to go ahead and use liquid white for it. So let me get some more liquid white on my palette here. Okay, for the liquid white, I'm just taking it, pulling it straight out, but this time I'm cutting up on it. I'm going to go ahead and put some water lines in here. This should help break up. Break up where the shore is at. And where the land's at, where it meets the water. Okay. Now I think I am going to take my 2-inch brush, the clean one. Go back into that white again. I just want to make this a little bit more prominent. It wasn't standing out as well as I was hoping. Okay, maybe from this side. Okay. Now if you wanted to, you can even add some, you know what? Let's do this. I was gonna go ahead and add some shore down there too, because I don't like the way there's that little bit of a gap right there. So let's do this. My white. just change if you don't like it. If you do that, you need to go back through and put your shoreline in though. There's a shoreline again. Let's go ahead and fix this too. What do you say if right down here, maybe there's a fence that's right here? And then maybe the boards go right here. Okay. And then with a liner brush and a little bit of that white, we'll go ahead and put a little bit of snow on top of the posts. Put a little bit of snow on the beams, like that. And then what you do at the very bottom, pull it like that. So, now, looks like it needs one more little, let's do this. Looks like it needs one more post sticking out here. So let's go ahead and give one more post. We'll do this. And then we'll give it, and then we'll go ahead and give it maybe just one of those. And then go back with your white again. Put white on top of it. There, put a little bit of white down the sides. If you do that, you need to go back over. And oh, I think I'm happy with that. Something I don't like. Yeah, just so I was happy with it, and I found something I don't like. It's one thing I found out whenever I paint. I'm always too critical for myself. See how this back is like this? It needs to be angled more. So take a little bit more paint. The roof needs to be slanted more. One thing I found out with this kind of painting, you can always go back and change things, which is probably why I like it better than other types of painting. Now the one thing, nobody's ever taught me how to paint. The only thing I've really ever done was watch a lot of Bob Ross and William Alexander videos on PBS when I come home from school. And finally, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I decided to give it a try. So that's why I'm still kind of going through and making some corrections and everything, and kind of just playing as I go. But regardless, that's my painting. Every time you do a painting, you need to sign it, of course. So let me go ahead and sign this one, and then we'll say we're done with it. This is probably a lot longer than I was hoping. I was hoping for like 1 minute, or I'm sorry, 1 hour. But it appears that I probably went longer than an hour. But let's get some paint. And one thing, Bob Ross always signed his in red. That's kind of like why I just do mine in red too. But let's go ahead and sign it right here. My name is a little bit longer than Bob Ross's is. So there you go. So there's a quick tutorial on how to paint a Milky Way scene. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.